Hey, what are you doing?
I'm practicing.
You've been practicing for 3 years. Most people think that anyone who never got a tattoo simply never wanted one. But psychology tells a different story. Some people wanted one and never got it anyway. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why that reveals more about you than any tattoo ever could. This isn't really about tattoos. It's about decisions we keep putting off, about identities we almost stepped into, and about the quiet question many people never ask out loud. Who would I have become if I had said yes back then?
Okay, that hit harder than expected.
Chapter 1. The person who's been waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. Let's start with the type most people know, because most people are this type. This person has ideas, lots of ideas. They've researched artists, compared styles, checked prices. They know exactly what they want. They're just waiting for the right moment.
The right moment. Since 2019.
Exactly. And here's where it gets psychologically interesting. Because this person doesn't suffer from indecision. They suffer from something researchers call perfectionist postponement. The brain protects them from potential disappointment by pushing the moment of decision further and further into the future. As long as they haven't decided, they can't have decided wrong. The idea stays flawless. The actual tattoo might not be.
So I'm protecting my ideas?
You're protecting your ideal self-image. That's not the same thing. But here's the part nobody expects. This postponement isn't always a mistake. Sometimes it's a signal, because someone who waits for years may have already decided unconsciously and just isn't ready to admit it yet.
Oh.
Chapter 2. The person who almost said yes and is glad they didn't. But now comes a type that's fundamentally different from the first one, and one that most people completely misread. This person was close, appointment booked, design picked, and then at the very last moment, they canceled. Not because of the pain, but because something felt wrong, a feeling they couldn't explain.
Gut feeling?
More precisely, a somatic warning signal. Our bodies store decision-making experiences. When we're about to take an action that doesn't align with our deeper sense of self, the body sends a signal, often as a vague unease, an inner break. Not fear, not doubt. More like, that's not me.
I know that feeling. I always thought I was just being a coward.
It's actually the opposite. People who listen to that signal show above-average interoceptive awareness, the ability to consciously perceive internal body signals and use them as information. In plain terms, they know themselves better than most people do, and that's exactly why they never got a tattoo they'd regret today.
Okay, so that sounds less like failure and more like a superpower?
Only if you learn to trust it. Chapter 3. The rebel who conformed and never forgot it. And now it gets uncomfortable, because this type is the most emotional one of all. There are people who, as teenagers or young adults, deeply identified with tattoos, who wanted one, who planned it, and then, under outside pressure, said no.
Parents?
Parents, partners, employers, society. Sometimes just the fear of no longer fitting in. Psychology calls this identity suppression, the act of suppressing a form of self-expression that feels socially risky. And the tricky part? It leaves a mark.
What kind of mark?
A quiet, lingering question. Who would I have become if I'd said yes back then? These people carry no tattoo on their skin, but many carry the decision against it for years. Not as trauma, but as an open question. And open questions keep us up at night.
That's kind of sad.
Or it's an invitation, because it's never too late to answer a question. Chapter 4. The person who loves tattoos and never got a single one. But now comes the type nobody understands, not even themselves. This person loves tattoos, genuinely. They find them beautiful, meaningful, bold. They admire people who have them. And yet, they've never booked an appointment.
That makes no sense.
It actually makes perfect psychological sense. What we admire doesn't have to be what we want for ourselves. Sometimes we admire exactly what we don't allow ourselves to live. Researchers call this vicarious identity expression, living out an identity through others without having to embody it yourself. And that can be a very conscious, very healthy choice.
Or a very unconscious one.
Exactly. The difference lies in whether you've ever honestly asked yourself, do I actually want this? Or do I just want someone else to have it?
I need a moment.
Chapter 5. The person whose skin is their last free space. And then there's one more type that almost nobody talks about because they barely understand themselves. In a world where almost everything is documented, posted, rated, and permanently stored, for some people, their own skin is the last piece of privacy, the last piece that hasn't been defined yet.
The last piece that's still mine?
Exactly. Psychological ownership, the feeling of truly possessing something, is a deep human need. And for some people, unmarked skin isn't emptiness, it's freedom. Not the freedom to avoid deciding, but the freedom to still be able to decide, anytime, for anything, with no undo button.
That sounds less like procrastination and more like intention.
For some people, it's both. And the difference between the two is one of the most honest questions you can ask yourself. Chapter 6. What blank skin really reveals. And now, after seeing all 5 types, comes the real question. What does skin without tattoos actually reveal about a person?
That they're indecisive?
Sometimes, but most of the time, it reveals something far more complex. People who never got a tattoo, regardless of the reason, often share one common psychological trait: a high sensitivity to permanence. They think in long time frames. They feel the consequences of decisions more deeply than others, and they protect their identity, consciously or not, from premature commitments.
Is that good or bad?
It's both. It protects against regret, but it can also paralyze. The difference isn't in the blank skin, it's in the question behind it. Are you still waiting, or have you already decided?
I think I decided a long time ago. I just wasn't ready to admit it.
Blank skin isn't a statement about courage or fear. It's a statement about self-knowledge, or the journey toward it.
I'm just going to call it minimalist identity management.
Call it whatever you want, as long as you know why.
So, which type are you? The eternal postponer, the near miss, the suppressed rebel, the admirer without action, or the guardian of the last free space? Write it in the comments.